Manchester United have just drawn 1-1 against Ipswich Town in Ruben Amorim's first game as the Manchester United manager. Before I get into my match reaction, I want you to get in the comments section. Let me know your thoughts on today's game. Were you happy with the performance? Were you happy with the result? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm just going to jump straight on into it. And the video title says Back to Reality. I think the thumbnail might say, I don't even know, to be honest, what it says. But I don't know. I'm just, oh, God. I was quite active on Twitter during that game. And my general consensus is this. Ruben Amorim's going to have to work an absolute miracle to get anything out of these players. And I know people are going to be like, oh, we've spent all this money, blah, 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 blah. Our team is terrible. I don't know. I don't know. I'm absolutely at wit's end, to be honest. Absolute wit's end with it all. You know? I don't know why we all have this like optimism that a new manager would come in and things would change. It was exactly the same as it was under Erik ten Hag, let's be honest, it was. The only difference was that Ruben Amorim makes some substitutions, literally. The players are the same. Rashford doesn't seem to care anymore, like he hasn't for years. Bruno Fernandes is still trying to play the Hollywood ball every time he gets the ball. Johnny Evans is still our best centre-back. Casemiro's our best midfielder. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just the same over and over again. And I honestly didn't see any difference between how we played today than how we played under Erik ten Hag. And I honestly don't think that... I don't know, I said this at the time when Erik ten Hag was getting sacked and people were like... People were begging me to say, sack Erik ten Hag, sack him, like he should be sacked. And people wanted me to say that. But every single time I kept saying over and over and over again that I don't think sacking the manager will make any difference. And people would be like, why do you keep backing Erik ten Hag? Why are you behind him, you know? I know it's only one game and people were going to be like, it's one game, give them time, but... We said the same thing under Erik ten Hag, right, with these set of players. I just don't honestly think that these set of players is going to get us anywhere. And this, just to be very, very clear, right, I don't think that this is on Ruben Amorim whatsoever. Ruben Amorim is clearly an incredibly talented manager. He speaks incredibly well. He's achieved incredible things since he was at Sporting Lisbon. And he was definitely the best man available for the job, right? The problem is that we just have such average players, you know? We've recruited, I put out on Twitter earlier on, right? Over the last decade, we have assembled, I would say, probably one of the worst squads in Premier League history, right? And in doing so, we spent £1 billion. We spent £1 billion. And now Ruben Amorim's come in and is expected to make miracles happen. You know, he's expected to wave his magic wand and everything to be okay. And it's just not going to happen. You know, and obviously, I'm not by any means saying that, you know, Ruben Amorim should be sacked or whatever. Like, it's the complete opposite of that, you know? Like, this video isn't targeted at Ruben Amorim whatsoever. It's targeted these players. And if we're going to all be fair here, we should have lost that game. We didn't have any opportunities to win that game. You know? We really, really didn't. Ipswich Town probably should have won that game 4 or 5-1. Think about it, right? Onana made that save in the first half, which was absolutely unbelievable. Probably one of the best saves I've ever seen. In the second half, he made another one-on-one save, which 9 times out of 10 goes in. And there was a couple of other chances as well where Ipswich Town should have scored. It should have been 4 or 5-1, 100%. Now, the differences I did see some differences. Obviously, we did play with this back three, which I thought was okay. I thought Amad Diallo as the wing-back was all right. I thought Diogo Dalot was okay. Obviously, it was great to see Luke Shaw back on the pitch, although he didn't really offer too much. So there was some changes than what we saw under Erik ten Hag, but generally it was the same. It was Marcus Rashford not looking interested, sulking, walking around doing nothing. Bruno Fernandes every time he getting the ball, just kicking it long, and passing it backwards and sideways. And that's going to take a very long time to get out of these players because they're so used to this average style of football. Whether that's Erik ten Hag's fault, whether that's Ollie's fault, whoever, I don't know. The main thing here is the players are poor, extremely poor. And this rant, if you like, isn't on Ruben Amorim whatsoever. You know, I can see people in the chat saying everyone was saying that that Erik ten Hag was the problem. I said this at the time, and people were just like, you know, gaslighting me, saying like, "Why are you backing Erik ten Hag?" I was never backing Erik ten Hag. I was just making the comment that I just don't think that with this set of players, many managers would get more out of them. And I think today was a prime example of that. We're supposed to have a new manager bounce, remember, Do people forget about this new manager bounce? 9 times out of 10, when a new manager joins a club, even if it's at the bottom of the Premier League, they'll go in and they'll win the first couple of games because the players are up for it. And we don't even have the new manager bounce. We've drawn 1-1 against a team who haven't been in the Premier League for what, like 10, 15 years? A team who are definitely going to get relegated. A team who are terrible at home, you know? So we don't get this new manager bounce at all. And just to be very, very, very clear, because I know some people won't listen to the whole video, they'll just leave negative comments. This isn't me having a dig at Ruben Amorim. Not in the slightest. This rant is on the players. And I was saying this under Erik ten Hag. I was saying this is the players' fault. The players aren't good enough. The players don't care. The players aren't interested. They're paid too much money. They're sulking. They're walking around the pitch. They don't look interested. Like, we all watched the games with our own eyes, yeah? And we all hoped that with a new manager coming in, these players would be like, right, I need to really, really go out and give 150%. And maybe they are giving 150%. Maybe they're just not good enough. And I think, you know, the black and white of this situation is, right? I can see people in the chat saying we should bring back Ruud van Nistelrooy. Oh, my God. Somebody in the chat saying this is the worst reaction. This game looked way worse. I'm not sure what you mean there. From what I saw there, Ipswich Town should have won at least 3-1, maybe 4-1, maybe even 5-1. I think that's a fair thing to say, right? And that's not on Ruben Amorim. He's only had 1 or 2 training sessions with these players. It's absolutely impossible to blame Ruben Amorim. Some of these players, right, only did 1 training session. So you can't blame Ruben Amorim. And if you can't blame Ruben Amorim, who do you blame? Do you blame the fans? Do you blame the mascot? Do you blame the medical department? Who do you blame? The only other people that you can blame are the players, really, innit? To go out and put in such a poor performance when you've just got a new manager, it has to be on the players, you know? So yeah, do you know what I just hope, though? I just hope that Ruben Amorim sticks with his morals and sticks with his ideas and his philosophies, because exactly the same thing happened under Erik ten Hag. Do you remember? Erik ten Hag joined Manchester United and we lost our first 2 games. We lost at home to Brighton and then we lost 4-0 to Brentford away. Does anybody forget that? Exactly the same thing happened with pretty much most of these players 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Erik ten Hag comes in and we lose the first 2 games in a row when he tried to play his tactics. And then what does Erik ten Hag do after that? He says, you know what? Screw that. I'm not going to play the Ajax way. I'm going to park the bus and hit on the counter-attack. And then he got us 3rd place in his first season, didn't he? And I just hope and pray that Ruben Amorim doesn't do that. Because in all honesty, today we should have lost. Let's be real. Let's be fair here, yeah? We were slightly better in the second half, but we still didn't create any chances. We had the possession of the ball, but we were just passing it sideways and backwards, you know? Like, just because you have possession doesn't mean that you're better than the other team. Ipswich Town, like, if you look at the XG for that game, let's have a look, right? To me, they should have won 3 or 4-1, easily. You know? I honestly don't think we had any other chances to score a goal, did we? I might be wrong. I might be, you know, crazy here, but I genuinely can't remember. Manchester United had 11 shots. Big chances, we had 2. One of them was the goal. Ipswich Town had 3 big chances. We had more possession. I don't know. It's frustrating. Obviously, I'd be keen to get what you know, the idea and what you guys think. You know, like, everybody was like, oh, we need to get top 4. We need to get top 4. I mean, I can't see us getting top 4, to be completely honest with you. You know, I just can't. And that's not on Ruben Amorim before people are like, oh, give the guy a break. Like, it's on these players. I just don't see how he's going to get anything out of these players. I mean, you look at our next few games, right? You've got Bodo Glimt in the Europa League. Obviously, we should be able to do that. Then we've got Everton at home. We should be able to beat them. But then after that, it's like Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Man City, Tottenham. Like, the next 4 games after that are very difficult, you know? And we have just been effectively outplayed by Ipswich Town. And that's not on Ruben Amorim. Somebody says you can't expect miracles in the first game, especially with the new system. I don't really understand that comment. What do you mean expect miracles? So what, is it Garnacho's first game? Is it Marcus Rashford's first game? I didn't realise it was Bruno Fernandes's first game. So you're telling me that it's the first game that these players have played for Manchester United? These players, most of them, have got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sacked. They got Eric Ten Hag sacked. So how is it the first game? Where's the personal? Why can't they be held personally responsible for putting in another terrible performance against a team who are going to be relegated? I've said very, very clearly, listen to me, Ruben Amorim is not at fault for Manchester United not winning today. It's impossible to blame Ruben Amorim because he's only been here for a week, right? These players have been here for years. These players have trained together and played together for years. So you can't be like, oh, it's only the first game. What do you mean it's only the first game? That doesn't make any sense. Like, think about what you're saying. These players have played together for years. Like, I don't know. I think it's just one of those ones, right, where, like, effectively, you hoped that this wouldn't happen, you know? Not this particular game. You just hoped that these players would find a bit inside them to think personal pride. I need to go out. I need to impress the new manager. You know, the thing is, right, some people are like, oh, you're being over the top and stuff. But the way I saw that game, right, we should have lost 3 or 4-1. If we'd have lost 3 or 4-1, would you have said that my reaction was over the top? No, you wouldn't. You'd be all agreeing with me. Some of you would be probably saying sack the manager. Like, think about it logically. Think about what you saw with your eyes in today's match. 1-1, I think, flattered us. It completely flattered us. We were lucky to get a point against Ipswich Town today, I think. And that's not on Ruben Amorim. Before people, like, that has nothing to do with Ruben Amorim. This is on the players. This is on Marcus Rashford, the Bruno Fernandezes. This is also on, obviously, the people at Manchester United who thought it was a good idea to bring in people like Casemiro, Eriksen. Like, none of these types of players are going to work in Ruben Amorim's team. It's clear to see. Ruben Amorim's sporting team was built on athleticism. It was built on young players who were willing to run around constantly. Casemiro and Eriksen can't do that, you know? So what I'm saying to you here is, right, Ruben Amorim could be a success at Manchester United, but he's not going to be a success with this set of players. Next game, we need to see Lenny Yoro in the defence, Martinez in the defence. We need to see Mainu. We need to see Manuel Ugarte starting the game. Like, the starting 11 needs to be completely different, in my opinion. Marcus Rashford definitely should not be starting next game. He was terrible today. And I know people would be like, oh, he scored the goal. Like, really? Marcus Rashford was absolutely atrocious today. His hold-up play is non-existent. He looks like he's lost his pace. He just doesn't seem interested still. And that's the worst possible thing for a Manchester United fan, to see a player who goes on about being, you know, a local lad and how much it means to play for Manchester United, and he just walks around the pitch like he doesn't care. Just after he got Eric Ten Hag sacked, or was part of that getting Eric Ten Hag sacked. You know, it's just frustrating to see. And like I was saying earlier, like I wish that we had one of those Amazon Prime documentaries where we get to see what's going on behind the scenes at Manchester United, because I want to see how Manchester United have effectively pressed the self-destruct button over the last decade and how we've got ourselves where we are now. You know, I would love to see that. I would pay money to see what goes on behind that club and how they've made it as bad as it is. But obviously, I'd be interested to know what you guys all think. Let me know in the comment section. Some people might think this is over the top. I'm only going to give you my honest thoughts on this channel. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to, you know, Ruben Amorim, no fault today. He's been here for less than a week. He's done one training session. The only people you can blame are the players, some of which have been here for over a decade. Marcus Rashford, Luke Shaw, like, etc., etc. Bruno Fernandes. Bjorn says some people are already calling for Amorim to be sacked. I don't know who's calling for Ruben Amorim to be sacked. I mean, anybody who's calling for him to be sacked is like, that's just, I don't even know how to react to that. And the thing is, right, I've said this like 5 times already. My thoughts and feelings are towards the players. They're not towards Ruben Amorim. I stuck with Eric Ten Hag after 3 years when every person in the fan base was saying to sack him. I'm not gonna go against the manager again. Never. Even if we were to lose the next 10 games in a row, I'm still blaming the players. 100%. I'm not blaming the manager ever again. I'm not. I won't. Not whilst these players are still at this club. I'll back the manager, whoever it is, until the very, very end. And this whole rant, this whole whatever you want to call it, is completely aimed at these players. Completely. So people who are saying for the manager should be sacked is, I don't know what to say. I can see some people in the chat saying that his starting 11 is worse than Ten Hag's. I don't know. I don't know what to say on that. I mean, at the end of the day, right, a lot of the players who started were players who were there all week with training with him, I guess. So that's probably why they were picked. I know Ahmad was there, Rashford was there, Bruno obviously was there because he got he got a suspension, didn't he, for Portugal, etc., etc. So yeah, I'm not throwing a manager under the bus. Even if he loses the next 10 games in a row, I'm still sticking with Ruben Amorim. These players are to blame. They are, of course they are. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Wasn't the result we all wanted. We didn't lose, though, so I guess that's a positive. I think we're up to 12th now, which is something, isn't it? Up to 12th in the Premier League. I don't know. Have a good evening. Go and try and do something else, because I can't... Yeah, I don't know. I'll be back tomorrow morning anyway, and we can talk about it more then. Make sure to get in the comments and let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Bye for now.